Well, if the new year has you stressing out about debt, you are far from alone. A new BC consumer debt study is highlighting the financial challenges many people are facing. And Blair Mantin with Sands and Associates joins us now with more details from that report. Happy New Year to you, Blair.
Happy New Year to you, Jason.
So what did this latest BC consumer debt study actually look at?
Well, it's a survey of our past clients, so we surveyed 1,800 people, which is actually a pretty significant proportion of the number of people that file for bankruptcy or consumer proposals every year. And we asked them a bunch of questions so we can understand, how does a debt problem arise? Do people get help right away? Spoiler alert, they don't. And what insights can other people take to know whether they should seek help for themselves?
Were you surprised from the findings? What are the big takeaways from this year's debt studies?
Yeah, there were a couple of really massive surprises to me. First off, with the impact of the pandemic, over half of the insolvencies, half of the bankruptcies or consumer proposals filed since March, people cited the pandemic as a key contributing factor. And this was with a bunch of income supports as well. So we expect the pandemic's going to have a big impact, but it's already more than half of people that file bankruptcy or proposals say that that was an issue. Another big stat, over half of folks, 55%, said it was credit card debt that was their main issue when they filed for insolvency, and that's more than 5 times higher than the next, the next more problematic debt.
And we're looking at $25,000 to $50,000 in debt, 34%. Very interesting. Blair, what trends have emerged when looking at these studies over time?
Well, one rather worrisome trend is the aging of debt. So we found this year close to 40% of people were age 55 years old or older. When we started doing these studies, it was about a quarter. It was about 25, 26%. So we're just seeing, people either getting into retirement already with debt or increasing their debt while they're in retirement. On the positive side, we've seen a big trend more towards proposals instead of bankruptcies. So when we first started this study, about 20% of people were filing a proposal to balance doing a bankruptcy. Now it's 60% of people are actually filing consumer proposals, which are a less severe way of restructuring your debt.
All right, let's look at the repercussions now. What about the impacts a debt problem can have on a person?
Well, for 3 out of 5 people, it was overwhelming stress was how they actually knew they were in trouble with their debt. So it's the saying, if you think you have a debt problem, you probably do. 1 in 6 people actually consider thoughts of suicide for their debt problem. For the most part, people figured out they had a debt problem because they were just making minimum payments. They weren't actually getting ahead on their debt. They were just treading water each month. But really, nobody has a debt problem and doesn't feel it either emotionally, physically, psychologically.
Smart idea to get professional help right away when you are feeling the stress of debt. Blair Mantin, thank you so much for your insight this morning. Have a great day.
Thank you. My pleasure.